Guys, I am so freaking pumped to tell you that I have resigned from my 9-to-5 normie job. What does this mean? I am going all in on Crypto Poppy. Wait for my CPD Gen Studios to come out. Guys, Bored Apes, you changed my life. Guess what, boys? It's time to take the plunge. What's going on, guys? What is going on? It is Tuesday evening, 9 o'clock Eastern time, and I am so pumped for today. Let me know in the comments if you are pumped. I am pumped. We are finally gonna get to talk to my man Nick today about Guild of Guardians, a project I've been invested in for, well, ever since we bought our NFTs. And I'm just so happy to get a chance to talk to him and pick his brain. And look, I want tonight to be all about you as well. Ask the questions that you got, all those burning questions. You know, let's make sure we get everything out of him tonight. And nevertheless, guys, let's welcome Nick. Nick, what is going on? How are you doing today?
Man, it's good to be here. I was just saying, I was just thinking to myself, I haven't seen that introduction yet. I know you quit your job to go full time into NFTs and crypto gaming, but that's something else. It's good. It's good you got it done in one take too, because you come back out dripping, having a replay again.
That was pure sporadic. Just grabbed my daughter and said, "Hey, film this," and I just kind of thought about it as it went along, and it just happened. That's usually how I do things.
No, it's good to be here. We obviously caught up a few times off stream, but it's nice to jump on and chat properly.
Absolutely. And man, we've been, I'm all the way on where what we like to think is the center of the universe on the East Coast. And you're all the way over there, over down under.
That's
and we tried to connect a few times and we finally got our schedule sorted out. So good morning to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Yeah, exactly. The back and forth. It's like, okay, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm sitting there crunching the numbers, Zach Galifianakis in the Hangover style, trying to work out where we are and tee things up. But yeah,
you're
excellent to be here.
You're drinking water. I'm drinking a little bit of scotch. What are you guys drinking in the comments? All right, Nick, let's start with a little bit introduction and a background on yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Nick. I'm the marketing manager for Guild of Guardians, which is a game that we'll get into and discuss. But I look after the brand partnerships, awareness, growth of the game, basically trying to get people from around the world, whether they understand crypto or gaming or not, exposed to a new project that we think has a lot of potential. And then we've scaled quite quickly. So at the moment, I'm still looking after the community management side of things, and we've got a bonkers community, a lot of amazing people in there. So I look after that for the time being as well. So
yeah, what's the count looking like on in the Discord? I know you've got a number that you're aiming for, right?
Yeah, I mean I think we're at around 77,000 in the Discord at the moment, which is really, really healthy. We want to be sort of 100K by the end of year would be an excellent first year. We launched the Discord, I think it was around Feb 2021. And if we can get up to 100K going into December before we get into live ops, that will mean that we've cleared up and sort of distributed all those first few waves of NFT founder assets. And it will mean that we've got a massive community of evangelists to go and spread the word as we get into a situation where this game goes live and we want to start onboarding users in that capacity. So that's the goal for the end of the year. Long term, we obviously want that number to be in the millions from a community standpoint, but very, very pleased with how things have gone so far, and very thankful and very grateful for the people who are there every day, sort of going in and plugging us and spreading the word.
Nice. And tell us what size of team do you have now over there? I mean, I know you're growing. What's the team look like now?
So we've got more than 20 full-time game developers. They're based in the Ukraine. They work at a company called Stepico Games. So they're a dedicated game studio. They're excellent. They're an outstanding group. And then on the other sides, the game's published by Immutable, which that's the company that I work for. It's an Australian company. And in our team specifically, we've got around, I think we've got 10 full-time, and then we're currently in the process of hiring 5 more people. So we're going to have a full-time dedicated group of about 35 people working on the game specifically by the end of the year, and then that group's going to scale up. So it's a big group. It will be one of the biggest in terms of NFT projects, NFT gaming. It doesn't really matter where you look. I would say we're one of the most well-funded and also biggest teams working specifically on the project, pretty much in the space.
So that's actually news to me. I didn't realize. Is it all employees of Guild of Guardians work for Immutable?
So well, technically speaking, so I'm obviously employed by Immutable. I work for the company, and then Guild of Guardians is a project that's published by Immutable, if that makes sense. So we build on Immutable X, which is a layer 2 marketplace, which we can get into, I'm sure. But then they're on the game dev side, Stepico Games are the group that's actually developing the game. So if that makes sense, it's sort of broken into 2 tranches, and then we exist under the Guild of Guardians umbrella, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I just didn't realize there was that firm of a relationship between GOG and Immutable. Is that the case for all the other projects on that blockchain, or is that kind of unique between?
No, not necessarily speaking. It's a blend, it's a mix. But I think speaking to our relationship with Immutable, it's exciting. I think Immutable recently announced a 60 mil US Series B raise, which is speaking to the benefits that has for Guild of Guardians. It means that we're extremely well funded. We don't have to worry on the liquidity front. Our focus is not on trying to sell things to our community. We're sort of equipped for an extended bear market if it was to come. And that's the beauty of, I guess, working and being employed / under the Immutable umbrella. But the Immutable X, just going to that point, Immutable X being a marketplace where you can go and build self-service, it means that if I was to go and build a project and I had nothing to do with Immutable, I wasn't employed by Immutable, I could obviously still go and do that. It's meant to be an accessible and uniform scaling solution, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very cool. I love Dean over here really speaks to me with just take my money. So that reminds me of my first night finding out about Guild of Guardians, and I think I found out about it right around the time that it was minting. I can't remember. It was like the day before, or maybe even the day of, to be honest. And a lot of at the time, I guess, more prominent figures in the NFT space started talking about it. I did my little bit of research, and I think one of the things I got from the beginning with GOG is that we're in this for the long haul. Like, it was clear that I wasn't minting something, or actually, we weren't even minting the NFTs back then. We were buying them well before. It ended up being 2 or 3 months. I can't even remember how long it was. It's one of the beauties that I love about this project is I don't really have to look at the floor every day or be concerned with it because I don't really trade this stuff. I bought it and I keep buying it and I keep collecting it until we get closer to playing the game and obviously play the game. But it really, it does speak to me in terms of the take my money. It was that feeling. It was that FOMO that I got, and not for something that I just wanted to flip tomorrow. I get that all the time. This really, like, you guys are building, just everything about this project says legit.
Yeah, I think that's a sentiment that we've definitely captured across the board. Speaking to Wave 1, which is what you're referencing, we sold 7,500 legendary heroes, and we basically said, hey, we're still implementing structures to be able to distribute these to you guys, and the ability for you to mint them onto a layer 2 marketplace, which is what we were always very serious about at the beginning. We wanted gas-free minting and trading. We didn't want people to get slapped with fees. And so we said, you need to trust us. If you buy into this, you're basically getting a digital IOU, a digital receipt that you own X number of NFTs or whatever it is. And when the capability and the functionality is there, trust us, it's going to be there, but it's not going to be for a little while. Sit and hold and then go and mint them when you're ready. And so we did that, and the assets sold out and the guild tokens sold out, and we did Wave 2, and Wave 2 we improved from Wave 1, and Wave 3 is going to be an improvement from Wave 2, and we've just sort of slowly built and grown this community in the background. We're very proud of the fact that we've done no paid marketing. We haven't spent a cent on advertising. And I think it's testament to the people in the community and the work that we've done trying to mobilize who we've got, and the messages we're trying to send, that we're able to continue growing. And and build a group of sort of happy evangelists who have assets that, NFA that hopefully appreciate over time and become, more in demand as the game grows and the user base grows. So you're exactly right. FOMO is real. FOMO is it's a real emotion, whether people like it or not. But as much as our message is basically FOMO or not, like, it doesn't really matter what your thesis is for buying in. We appreciate your investment and we take it very seriously. We take people investing their hard earned very seriously, and we'll never compromise for that.
Yeah, and I say a lot. Some NFT creators will probably hate me for it, but the reality is that on this channel, I do try to teach trading, as I come from a crypto background and trading in crypto and now trading in NFTs. And I always say to people, look, 99% of these projects are telling you that they're going to put on a concert, and you're buying concert tickets at wholesale price. But there is no, like, 99% of them will not put on a concert. So I'm not waiting for the concert to basically happen. And I do flip my way out of most things. However, GOG is within the 1% for sure. There are a few games, play to earn, play and earn, as I know you guys like to call it, which I'm going to ask you about. But it's one of the very few where I tell people that no, I'm waiting for this is a concert that I'm buying tickets for, and I cannot wait to get there. And I don't, I don't even think twice about reducing my collection size just to gain more ETH right now. So I'm pumped for whatever we have to come in. And look, you guys set the expectations right. Like, we were in this for the long haul. We knew that. And I think you have a lot of loyal fans because of that as well. So it works in your favor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're a 20-year plus game project. We're very serious about our values. Day one, when I was hired, the first thing that Derek, our game lead, said to me was, we want to disrupt the gaming industry. That's what we want to do, and it's a lofty ambition, it's a lofty goal. But if you're not on board, then don't bother coming, basically. That should inspire some level of confidence with asset holders and people who are either invested or not part of the community. Again, it's a free to play game. People don't need to buy in at this stage, and we are serious about the sort of community building aspect and the power of play and earn gaming. And you don't need to buy assets to be a part of that. It would be a bit counterintuitive and would go against our values if we were like, okay, it's a play and earn game, it's accessible, it's on mobile, it's for everyone, but you need to spend X number of dollars to get involved. It doesn't work that way. So it's a nice benefit for people to be able to invest early in the project, and that's good, and we're happy to facilitate that. But at the end of the day, we're building a game that we want 50 million people plus to play, be it they have a wallet or not.
So this is something I've wondered about a lot. Is your goal is to make the game fun, obviously, regardless of whether you come in with zero funds and you earn your way up, however you do that. And then for others that have invested, I'm assuming they kind of get a head start in the game. Is that how you guys are envisioning it?
So there's a number of different ways to tackle that question. I mean, there's obviously benefits to owning advanced heroes, right? So legendaries or epics or rares over a common hero. Basically, the way it works is common heroes can be leveled up, is the easiest way to think about it from a mechanics standpoint. Can be leveled up and then merged into a higher rarity or a higher tier hero. So obviously, starting with those assets means that you have slight stat boosts, slight buffs on different things. But the goal of what we're trying to do from a gameplay loop standpoint is to not make that gap or that difference prohibitive to a free-to-play player. Doing that would sort of ruin the mechanics of what we're trying to achieve, and we're very serious about the game not being pay to win, if that makes sense. So, and there are ways to facilitate it. Our dev team and our sort of senior game producer and game designer are outstanding. Our senior game designer in particular, he was one of the first devs on Temple Run. I don't know if you remember that mobile game, but
absolutely, yeah.
So I believe that game had 1 billion downloads. One of the most famous mobile games in history, and so these people understand what's going on. They're very clear about what they want to achieve. And if the truth of the matter was that the game wasn't free to play, or people who were free to play players couldn't earn playing in the game, we wouldn't market it. We wouldn't say it like that. So that's a guiding light for us. I'm very serious saying play and earn is our guiding light. I tweeted that yesterday. It's like, and that needs to be for everyone. And obviously, you're going to be rewarded for putting an earlier investment into the game, and you're going to see slight increases in a number of different fields for doing that. But at the end of the day, we need to facilitate both the active investor and then the keen gamer who hasn't put a cent in.
Right. So am I right in saying that you'll just have to grind it out way more if you're coming in without an NFT hero?
So yeah, I mean, we're always like, we're doing internal projections on potential earning on a day-by-day basis based off different numbers, different metrics, usage, etc. I think obviously there's going to be an element of having to do a bit more work to get to a point where you're on par, but that obviously comes as a result of if you didn't put up financial investment in the beginning, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the grind is a word that we try and avoid. I think because it's like, people understand it and gamers understand the concept of grinding a game, and it's synonymous with sitting and just plugging hours into something. But again, we're still very serious about, like, this game's going to be super fun to play. It doesn't feel like a chore to level up. But yeah, that element is definitely there.
So what about the in-game currency? Can you tell me a little bit about the gems and how you guys envision that working?
Yeah, I can. I think so. I'll pull up the white paper and sort of speak a little bit more closely to it. The easiest way to look at gems is basically that. So they're an in-game currency. They're an ERC20 token. They're issued and distributed, and they have.
Oh, they are. Oh, that I didn't know, actually.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this is. I'll Discord message you this link, and maybe you can put it in the YouTube.
Sure.
Comments, and I'll just speak to this quickly because this is obviously a question that we get quite a lot. Having a token obviously aligns incentives. It gives people another avenue to be, not invested, but invested in the game. And the goal of our gems, as we've written in the white paper here, is like, it rewards players. So they are tradable in game. They're given as gameplay rewards. That obviously is a good thing. It brings players in. It holds players there. It's actually the mechanic or the avenue for play and earn to exist. And there's also a few things that are built into that, which I won't get into, but allows players to access premium content, so on and so forth. Going back to what I just said about aligning incentives, super important. We think that this is kind of the way that we win. It's like gems can be obviously exchanged and tradable to other community members, right? So developers, content creators, you get into the content creator economy, you get into different aspects of the metaverse economy, and you have this core underlying incentive, which it basically mobilizes everyone to try and grow the gaming community. And so if you've got all these different groups working together to try and increase this thing and share and exchange things, all of a sudden it's like, hang on, we've got this self-fulfilling loop of people who are incentivized and excited and sort of motivated to play the game and grow the game, play the game, grow the game. And you just start, like, it spirals up and spirals up and spirals up. And then the other key point here, which is obviously very serious when it comes to a play and earn mechanic economy, is gems are the underlying foundation or the underlying infrastructure when it comes to building sustainable play and earn economy and protecting against bots. So that comes down to a fixed distribution of gems, built-in scarcity, XYZ. So we obviously, like, there's been so much work that's gone into the tokenomics behind this and the way that we want to distribute these, and people who bought in wave 1 and wave 2 as we unlocked community milestones were given access to or have been apportioned or attributed a certain number of gems. Again, that ties into what we're saying with incentivizing the community and mobilizing the community, rewarding early adopters, so on and so forth. So I think gems are extremely exciting. It adds another layer to the tokenomics to people.
Oh, I think we lost Nick, and I was just about to ask him the really curious question nowadays. As you guys, oh, I think he's. Hey Nick, we lost you there for a bit,
You got
buddy.
me? You
You're
got me?
back. I
What
think
was the last thing?
tokenomics of gems and protecting that and how you distribute the gems.
Right, no worries. Yeah, so I think just as a TLDR or a summary, gems add a really interesting layer and a very exciting layer to how people approach the game from both an investment and a playing standpoint. How can they use these as social currency to facilitate a better playing experience?
Yeah. So that's super cool that it's ERC20. Now, the big topic these days around NFTs and tokenization of the NFTs, how comfortable are you guys? And you guys are obviously a much bigger team than many of these, one-man shows building PFPs. But how comfortable are you that you're doing everything legit and you're not going to face, the SEC coming down on you hard?
I look after marketing and community and branding, but we have a crack whip group of people who work specifically on legals, and have been for months. And I've been privy to their conversations, and I don't envy them at all because it's a lot of big words that I don't quite understand. But they've been working behind the scenes to make sure everything's compliant. Again, as I said in the beginning, it comes back to our laser focus in protecting our community and protecting their investments. So I have absolutely zero doubt and full confidence in them to make sure that everything we do is above board and compliant. We're not going to get a monster under our bed who comes out in 6 months' time and says, "Hey, slap on the wrist, you can't do this, this, and this."
Yeah. Now, I'm interested in getting your take on the recent news that Steam basically said we're not releasing NFT games. We're banning all NFT and cryptocurrency related games. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's an interesting one. We obviously we respect the decision of any game developer, game distributor, game hosting platform to make their decisions on what they do want to host and what they don't want to host. I think if I'm speaking personally as someone who is a long-term gamer, someone who understands the NFT gaming space, and having been privy to the conversations that we've had with big game studios, big game distributors, and big game hosting sites, I personally think that it's a bit of a head scratcher to just come out blanket say we're not going to do it. It's like the equivalent would be like saying, "Hey, this thing, the internet in 1998." It's like we're gonna any mention of the www dot whatever or any mention of the internet. It's like you're blacklisted. You're not in our room. It's like I think there's a real risk of them getting egg on their face and shooting themselves in the foot a little bit if they do turn around at some point and say, "Hey, it makes no economic sense. The demand is there for us to not have these platforms or these games hosted on our platform." And I'm not 100% sure of their reasoning behind it. Obviously, for them, it's a legal thing or it's a compliance issue that they're concerned about. But if I was on the team there, I would probably be saying there's a few things that should be considered before making such a sort of broad-reaching decision. And I think, generally speaking, in fields like this and in categories like this, you're going to find that people will go and get the stuff that they want to play anyway. Games that have demand are going to find the places to get hosted regardless. It's like
Right.
competitors emerge, places emerge. It's not a big deal in our opinion.
Yeah, I think where we are right now is a lot like where Uber was when it was starting off. And I don't know how Australia perceived Uber when they first came into the big cities there, but there were lots of cities around the world that right away put their hands up, no way, not happening. Uber's not happening in this town, in this city. And look, what happened? Uber's everywhere, and you can't stop consumer demand. And I strongly believe, like, I've actually seen current players on YouTube of any kind of gaming say they will never turn to NFT gaming as well. and it just puzzles my mind. Like, you're playing for free right now. Just wait till you actually start earning income and have the potential of turning that into a business. You're gonna flip in a second. You're not even gonna think twice about it.
People, people are very bold. People say things that they don't mean. People's minds change. You wake up in the morning, you want to eat. I'm a big oats guy, right? I wake up and I want to eat oats for breakfast. But like in 3 days' time, I might wake up and want to eat Vegemite toast. It's like people get bored. People's minds change. As soon as something comes that's compelling and they see a reason to flip, they'll do it. So it's all well and good for people to act big and say, hey, I'm never doing this, or I'm never hosting this game, or I'm never, ever, ever getting involved in that. It's like in a month's time, if something came out that really attracted their attention and they realized that there was demand in their sort of consumer or viewer base, they would start playing it straight away. Like they know it, we know it. It's a no-brainer. So, I can speak to the conversations that we're having with big game studios, the market research we've done on what gaming studios are doing at the moment. It's like, I can guarantee you hand on heart that the wave's coming. Like there's no gaming studio in the world that's not looking at NFTs. It's completely 100%. There's no gaming studio in the world that isn't considering them, already actively building. And I promise you that there are AAA game studios who are building NFT games right now, and you just haven't heard about it. Guarantee you, 100%. So people can say what they want. They're going to look a bit silly in a year's time when the screenshots emerge, but it is what it is. And we'll keep building, we'll keep growing something that's going to change the mobile gaming industry forever, and people can come if they want. There's no pressure. You don't have to join our Discord. You don't have to do it. But I think that there's worse places to be right now.
Yeah. So you've got some massive partnerships listed on the website. Tell us about those partnerships and how involved are they, and how deep does the relationship go?
Yeah, I mean, so we partner with Ubisoft, who are obviously probably the biggest fish in our partnership pool at the moment, and a very respected group when it comes to advice when we talk to them about the ability to bridge the gap between mainstream and crypto, and making blockchain invisible and trying to appeal to mainstream gaming bases. We lean on them pretty heavily, as you would. It'd be like me playing basketball and having Michael Jordan in my corner and saying, hey, how do I shoot a jump shot, right? Like you go and you lean on them quite a lot. We've partnered obviously with NRG, who are a big esports company. There's a bunch of other groups that we've partnered up with from a DAO perspective, from guild ownership perspective, from company perspective, and from an investment standpoint. And then I'm not allowed to leak things, but I just want people.
You leak stuff every day. I love your Discord. You leak.
I like game specific things, but But I think that we've got some extremely exciting stuff to announce over the next few months. So the partnerships are just beginning, I would say. That's my tease. That can be you won't believe what the marketing manager at Guild of Guardians said about the back half of 2021. But yeah, it's exciting times, and it's a bit of a pinch yourself moment when you get to sit and talk to a few of these teams and a few of these people. But yeah, it's good fun.
I love it. And I'm sure all of you are exploring and learning together as you go along, because this is so
100%.
brand new to every
100%.
single, really every related business to this industry is learning this right now, right? Like part of what we talked about once was, you guys are doing game-changing things with Immutable. Like the game itself is forcing Immutable to continue to innovate. And you've got two teams that are learning at the same time, the blockchain side and the gaming side, to be able to build something that is obviously long lasting and makes sense for everybody.
100%.
So hey, let's get a little bit to gameplay. So I want to get pumped, and when I want to get pumped with GOG, I watch this video. It's a couple seconds, but let's watch a little bit of gameplay. So not sure. Could you hear the audio?
Yep.
All right. Perfect. First of all, actually, it is one of the things that I've noticed is just the music. Where like it just everything is legit about this damn project, and even breaking it down to the music, like who's creating this music?
We have a crack whip team. Like our sort of art and creative director looks after the construction of that. We keep it a little bit under wraps, but I have access to game soundtracks. It's unreal. Like again, this is stuff that we'll be able to sort of share with the community soon. But yeah, you're exactly right. The music, like every time I sit and listen to it, every time I play test, every time I hear the team play testing it, it's best in class. The soundtrack, the art, the creative direction is just awesome. It's a privilege to have them working for us. But yeah, you're right.
So, all right. So the game itself, what I know about the game is I will select 5 heroes to go into battle with. There's going to be single player, co-op player. I think I know you guys are encouraging people to join a guild, play co-op. I know you guys believe that it can be very rewarding to strategize with friends and so on, like the social part of the game, and not everybody's going to have all of the same characters either, so there's a lot of strategy that would go on to the co-op side. And at the end of the day, so we're going to have 5 heroes, we're going to go into a dungeon, and we're going to fight some bosses.
So yeah, it's 4 heroes to a team.
Oh, it's 4, sorry.
No, it's fine. So 4 heroes in a team. Essentially, the way that the core gameplay works is you'll bring a team of heroes into dungeons to fight. So it's a dungeon crawler mobile RPG is the real high level summary. So you'll bring a team of heroes in, and team strategy is as important as skill in this game. It's very much play the meta, try and work out different synergies, how heroes interact with each other, how those heroes will then go and defeat a boss or clear a dungeon the best based off the challenges that they face. So it will test the gamer's mind, which is exciting. So yeah, team composition, synergies, they all matter. You can preload teams, you can build these different groups out and then go and take your thesis or your idea on how the best way to clear it and maximize your rewards is, and go and put those skills to the test essentially. So then you've obviously got on the skills side, you've got a super easy and sort of intuitive mobile interface and UX. It's all about dodging, it's all about combo attacks, it's all about working as a group. We're currently looking at factional, class, and elemental synergies in combat. So that's super exciting. For example, and as the white paper notes, a team of all Horde heroes, which is one of the factions, could have their raw attack boost buffed. So you might go into a dungeon with a particularly healthy or a boss with really high health XP numbers, for example. And so you might want to say, okay, I'm going to lean on my team of Horde, get an attack buff boost, and then go and see if that's the way for me to go and clear this dungeon quickest and maximize the rewards that I get out of that, if that makes sense. A team of all fire element, which sits separate from faction, they could have a higher chance to inflict damage over time. So if it's a particularly longer or bigger dungeon with more elements of things that you have to go and try and defeat, then you might take that group in. They're just like real life sort of hypothetical examples of what you could do and how you could combat different situations that pop up in game. So we're going to have traditional RPG roles, your tanks, your healers, your DPS, your supports. We want them to be valuable. We want people to have their own play styles. And then going back to what you said about solo, co-op, guilds, I think we're very serious about the concept of gaming being more fun with friends. That's obviously why the game is called Guild of Guardians. We want people to ideally get the most out of their playing experiences by cooperating in teams, working in guilds, saying, I want to do this, this, and this, and we need this item and this item to be able to merge to create this, which we can then go and trade for that amount of money on the secondary marketplace. And we need that to be able to go and create something to go and beat this dungeon. Like all of a sudden you start having these like crazy trees and these roots that are sort of divulging, and it's like we're playing together as this group. There's 30 of us, and every day is different. We need to go and do this today, or this is our task for today. Like I even sitting there, you think about it, it's like there's actually infinite opportunities and infinite options in the way that we do this, right? Like that's crazy if you ask me. And then on top of that, the underlying mechanism is like you can actually earn money doing it. Like that's you don't have that that's not how the world works at the moment. So, but yeah, it's groundbreaking. It's super exciting. I get very hyped and amped up talking about the game, and I can sit and just wax lyrical for hours about different things you can do. But that's a very sort of congested summary of how the game's going to work. And you still can play solo. There's obviously we will facilitate that. You can play in the beginning. You can play with heroes and have AI control on the other three. Flick between heroes. All that is still going to be facilitated, as I said. So.
Yeah. Do you envision solo just being you and then AI heroes, or as a solo person will I be able to just join any random game where there's others?
So we'll be developing and building in the co-op element of the game, and we'll lean pretty heavily on the feedback that we're getting from the community, both from a quant and qualitative sense, in the way of how we best integrate that. There's nothing worse than it's very easy to ruin a project by trying to assume what the player base wants. So we'll read and react.
Right.
On the solo front, you'll go in and you'll if you're playing solo at the moment in the soft launch, you'll only have the ability to have AI heroes controlled with you, if that makes sense.
Yep.
You can still play solo as part of a guild, right? Like it's like you can still be part of a guild. And in the beginning, if you're part of a guild, you will be playing solo in dungeon crawling. As we build out the co-op element, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So let's see this other video that you just leaked, I think a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm. Can I speak to this while it's live?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is from our UX team. So these are basically, these are just sketched up. These are just drawn sketches. We obviously have these properly rendered out with colors and heroes and everything. This is just what an intro to a dungeon might look like. So you can see the map and the worlds. This is the hero or squad selection. You can see what the different heroes have, their different factions, class, elements. You load in, it will tell you what dungeon you're going into, what the name of the quest is. You've got your heroes there. That's not exhaustive on what the UI will look like, but that's the beginning. So you do your battle, everything's finished, and then this is what the outro might look like, right? So this is the first option: victory, equipment, stuff that you've earned, time you've did, damage taken, XYZ, and that's in the case of a victory. And then in a defeat, right, this screen might pop up, this second one. Okay, we lost. How can we learn from that? Combat tips. This is what you could do better. You cleared this much. This is where things went wrong. Here's what you could do better next time, and here's some recommendations built out of the AI of the game to improve. So our UX team is gun again. Like this, I'm by far like the most junior and least experienced and least, I guess, technical person in the group. And they'll sit and explain all this stuff to me, and I just say, I'm the mouthpiece of the community. This is how it works, guys. And everyone sits there and loves the leak. So that's the UX flow of how loading into a dungeon and then finishing a task may look like.
Yeah. So is this a mobile first game or mobile only game?
Mobile only. We have no plans on going PC. We're all in on mobile. It's definitely the most accessible gaming platform. It definitely has, in our opinion, the best ability for mobile guild cooperation. You can be on the move, playing all the time, play before work, loading in on the train. Like there's the accessibility is the big thing for us, and that ties back in with the play and earn. If you don't have an Xbox or a PS4, you're automatically ruled out from being able to play and earn if that's the case. So I'm sure people will be able to use emulators and everything if they wish, but the mobile only is the plan.
I don't know if it's too early to ask you this, but plans to release both on iOS and Android at the same time?
Yeah. That's the plan.
Man, I'm pumped. So one of the things that I haven't actually done yet is I haven't really tinkered with my collection. So I've minted wave 1. Wave 2 kind of caught me off guard. I think I was sleeping. You guys really caught me off guard with that one. Yeah, but I still got some. I went and loaded up anyways in the secondary market. So if I've got 4 heroes that can battle at any time, well, actually, before I get to that question, it's related, but the rarity of the heroes themselves. So you release the legendary heroes in wave 1, and then the epics, and the legendaries and the epics each also have these special editions, elite, normal, warrior, and mythic, which is ridiculously unaffordable, and I'll never, maybe I'll be able to buy it, I don't know. But so what I've heard you say is that rarity impacts the powers that the heroes get in game. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's basically, I think, the easiest way to think about it. And we're still obviously tweaking mechanics, right? A lot of the stuff is still placeholder. As I said to you, it's the sign of a good project is basically listening to the community and working out straight away once you launch something. It's like, okay, this is OP or this is whatever. But basically, the idea is that as you level up and as you get rarer and rarer heroes, generally speaking, they're going to have increased stats in key elements, right? So their attack stats, your legendary attack stats, for example, would be higher than a common hero's attack stats. And that makes sense. That's a natural progression model. That's sort of gaming blueprints across the board. We're not going to reinvent the wheel on that at all, and we're going to do what's in the best interest of not being prohibitive to people who are free to play, but also rewarding people who have either through investment or through grinding their heroes up have got to rarer and rarer heroes, if that makes sense.
When you say rare, so you're referring to epic versus legendary. Is special edition considered rarity as well?
No, so the founder assets, the founder assets sit separate. So they're obviously still playable, but the founder assets are basically additions of heroes that will never sell again. We wanted to release these in scarce numbers comparative to the long-term numbers of players in the game, if that makes sense. So we released 7,500 legendary heroes, X number of 8 specific heroes. Some of them had special editions. So there were different chromas. So warrior, elite, and then mythic, as you spoke about, which is a one of one of each hero. They're purely cosmetic. That having the special edition of those don't have any impact on the game, and I think you could probably understand why. It would be a little bit OP if you had a mythic hero and you went in and could just blast dungeons and get whatever you wanted. Like, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So they're more of a, hey, you were here early. If the game scales to 100 million plus people and you've got a one of one Leah, like, NFA, and I'm not speaking financially, but there's going to be more demand for that because there are more people in the ecosystem, etc. Think of it like a RuneScape, for example. If you got a really rare limited edition item from early in the piece or early in the game's history, that would probably attract quite a lot of value on a secondary market.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of epic versus legendary, so I've got both, and I wonder sometimes, why do I just sell all my epic stuff and just roll with legendary? Is there a benefit to keeping epics around?
I mean, yeah, I've got to be careful not to get into the financial advice territory, but again, it's you build your own investment theses, right? You might think that epics are the meta, and you might think that epics are what people are going to be after, and epic is the bridge. Legendary might be too big a price point for people to get into, and legendaries might take too long for people to grind to. And so you might stack epics. You might think the same for rares. You might think, okay, legendaries are going to hold all the premium. I'm going to flip everything into them and hold them and use them to play, because I think that long term, DCA or TCA, they're going to make more for me in the game by having them early. Like, as I said, it's funny hearing people build these investment theses before we've even got live ops, right? And that's I think that's the sign of a good project, is that automatically with the information you've got at hand, you can start building your own ideas. So on that note, I don't have any recommendation for you. I think I enjoy the fact and I appreciate the fact that you've exposed yourself and you've invested early in the project, but it's very much up to you the way that you play it and the way that you think your assets will react and build in game.
So I think this question's covered. Will there be utility assigned to warrior, epic, or mythic? And I think you don't see that happening. Okay. And player versus player, actually, I hadn't really thought about that. Is there any plans to introduce that?
Yes, long term, we will not be saying no to that. We are looking at that
Very cool. But that changes sort of the dynamics quite a bit, right? Of
for
what
sure,
I'm picturing today versus what PvP might look like.
for sure.
It's almost like does it become like a mini game or something that's separate
There's,
from the
I think, yeah,
campaign?
I think PvP opens up a lot of different doors, and it would not be wise for us to close our minds to that.
Yeah, yeah. So, what about the guild? So, I own a guild. I did buy
Mhm,
one, and
mhm.
one of the things I noticed that in your Discord, like people are already building their guilds and they got their Discords going. I do wonder what's everybody talking about right now. How
It's
much
crazy.
strategy can we do? But I love absolutely love the enthusiasm,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
so I've got my guild. So tell me a little bit about how you see that all working.
So guilds, obviously in the title, Guild of Guardians, right? Guilds are a very important element in the core gameplay loop. So guilds essentially offer players access to game modes that are only accessible to members of those guilds. Um, and then these game modes in particular will provide those players with different avenues to flex their heroes, fight stronger enemies, and then earn unique and more rare rewards. So guild membership is encouraged, and guild membership is something that we think will unlock a richer playing experience. So ownership of a guild means that there's 4 tiers of guilds. So there's your adventurers guild, your warriors guild, your legends guild, and the mythic guild. But basically, guild ownership means that you can have X number of members in your guild. Whenever there's an item sold or crafted, you get, as the guild owner, a certain percentage cut of any sale, depending on what level of guild you have. So it builds again another layer of I guess economic incentivization. You're the guild owner, you want to build a really strong group of recruits who are experienced mobile gamers, or maybe can commit a lot of hours to it, or potentially have a suite of heroes that you really think are going to be powerful. So it builds all these different ideas. And you already see we have a guild recruitment channel in our Discord where there's 100 messages every day. You know, we're an Australian only Discord because we're an Australian only guild, sorry, because we want to operate in these time hours, or this is our time zone, or I've built this guild. I want all healers. I want as many healers as I can because I think that this is the meta, and I think this is how mobile RPGs tend to run. And you see other people saying, "Hey, I'm going to go and hire someone to run the guild for me. I want to be just a passive owner, and I want to make passive income from it." So again, as I said, the beauty of a good game is you facilitate the idea and you facilitate the ability for people to go and have their own investment decisions and their own investment theses, um, rather than pushing people down rabbit holes based off the way that you want the game to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, being a guild owner is going to be a pretty cool experience. I think it's going to be good fun.
I'm definitely excited for that. I'm definitely creating my guild. I've got an adventurers guild.
Nice.
And I kind of regret not getting one of the other ones, but at the time actually when I was minting, not minting, buy I always say minting, and no, I didn't mint at that time. That was right around the same time that I minted the apes, actually.
Wow.
So I didn't have an insane amount of liquidity.
Hmm.
I could have had more, but I was still kind of like a crypto maxi guy just starting to explore the NFT world, right?
Yeah.
And so, I can't regret it now not having gotten one of the other guilds, but because it really is like a potential legit business. And at that point, then why not upgrade your guild if you're really going to take this seriously and try to turn that into a business, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're desperately serious about building a proper dynamic metaverse economy. Like we're obviously very bullish on what that can facilitate for people of all different backgrounds and varieties and sort of, I guess, credentials, whatever. But you're exactly right. There are people who will legitimately try and build and form businesses out of this, and we want to encourage people of all different volitions and motivations to come in and make the most of their experience with the game.
Any sorry, I'll say any plans to have like guild leaderboards?
Yeah,
Yeah, and so
yeah,
we can flex our guild. That's
hundred
very
percent,
important part of this.
100%, 100%. No, they're already firmly in place for sure.
Oh, nice. And I missed this question before, but my understanding is you'll be able to upgrade your epic heroes to legendary, right?
Yeah,
Through playing the game.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. You said crafting. Now, as someone that comes from, I actually come more from the first person shooter side. So
Mhm.
I haven't historically actually played these kinds of games. That's my wife. So she's the one that actually when we first bought the legendary heroes in wave 1, she was right beside me and she was so pumped that I remember I had planned to buy like 4 or 5, and
Mhm.
she was right beside me. She's like, "Buy more, buy more, buy more." So this game is right down her alley. But what does crafting mean?
So basically, when players go into dungeons to complete challenges, you earn rewards. So you get resources, you get currency, you get equipment, and you can spend and flip these rewards to do different things: upgrade heroes, recruit heroes, create equipment, craft equipment, build things. Right. So there's a number of different things you can do out of that. And basically, the goal is the progression dictates that as you use newly acquired heroes and more robust equipment and crafting different things and different tools, basically you get the ability, or you mobilize yourself and give yourself the opportunity to complete progressively more difficult dungeons. So it all ties in with the progress loop that we're trying to build and facilitate. So crafting basically is another mechanic to build things, which are all NFTs, right? If you build items, you get equipment. They're all tradable and sellable and exchangeable in an open marketplace on Immutable X. But you use these things to progress, or if you think that they hold value, to sell. That's the concept. It's meant to be an open market, and it's a willing seller, willing buyer arrangement, which is exciting. Like I guess it kind of comes down to the fact that I can't really say either way what you're going to do with an item. You guys decide. Your guild might think that stacking, legendary items that mobilize, a small portion of the game is the meta, and you just hold them and you just try and sell them at profit. Or you might say, okay, we don't want to sell anything that we've crafted. We don't want to sell any items. All we want to do is try and level up heroes and grow our heroes and upgrade them and then flip them. And other than that, we don't sell items because down the track, we think there's going to hold a lot of value. It's like you just, I can't dictate it. All we're going to do is facilitate that. But crafting is a byproduct of completing dungeons, essentially.
Do you anticipate having to tinker well into the game with the algorithm and what meta is, and maybe sort of change course on what is
Um,
meta?
I think in crypto gaming, like anything else that's new, there's always going to be an element of uncertainty when it comes to how do we build this the best way possible. And I think that as long as you have a really strong commitment to listening to the community and reading and reacting to what they're saying and doing, then you dictate and you tinker with things as much as needs be. So in that regard, I think good games move and change and evolve based off what people are saying and what people are doing. And I don't think we're going to try and do anything different. We have the gaming side to worry about, but then we also have the economy side. And we need to make sure that we're building that dynamic metaverse economy and making sure that those loops are working and that people's assets are safe and secure and they have an ability to do things with them to facilitate a good playing and trading experience. So I guess the short answer is we'll change as much as we need to, but we're not going to go in and just shake things up for no reason if it's not warranted.
Yeah, and that is actually I've noticed this, for example, with Zed, which is really one of the only other play to earn games that I'm playing right now. Is that you're no longer like I was a huge FIFA fan and played FIFA Ultimate Team, and they would mess with the algorithm all the time, and they would
Mhm.
change things, and that's fine. Like, well, okay, you get upset because you're no longer having as much fun, maybe, or you gotta adapt a little bit. But it's different when people are making an investment in play and earn,
Completely,
right?
completely.
And like messing
Yeah,
with something like that, like, man, that can't be taken lightly.
100%. No, you're right. I think, and again, as I said, we're very like it couldn't be clearer that it couldn't be clearer that like we take the investment of our community very seriously. We don't, there's so many projects that are, rugs, and so many projects that kind of just the money's there, and it's like, well, it doesn't really matter whether we make a mistake now. It doesn't really matter if we don't listen to the people. It's no skin off our back, basically. Like, we know that people who have invested in one epic hero, for them, that's a massive investment. It's their first investment in an NFT project. And we need to look after them, and we need to be really serious about making sure that they have the best experience possible. That's now through to 20 years time. Everyone's treated equally in this ecosystem, so that's important.
Yeah. There's a conversation in the chat going on about sort of do you feel well prepared for what could be explosive growth from a stability perspective? And I'll add on security as well. But are you cloud based? Are you on platforms that you think you'll be able to expand as the need comes? Because again, with some of some of the NFTs that have blown up, NBA Top Shot, for example, took a while to get over their stability issues.
Yeah, I think the best thing and worst thing with Top Shot was that it grew so quickly. So you had a massive influx of eyes and a massive influx of attention on the project. And with them, it was kind of a situation where they blew up quicker than they would have expected. And then you're forced to fix things on the fly, and things broke, and that's fine. That happens. The luxury of what we have is that we've been building for a year. We're going to continue building, and we're not rushing. So I think obviously we take seriously our scaling solutions, and we take seriously what servers we're hosted on and everything. I won't go into details, but yeah, that's obviously like any good game studio. We liaise with them properly. We make sure that everything is being considered on that front. So yeah, full confidence.
Nice. So, what can we expect over? I've learned not to expect anything, and I love that. Like I said, you kind of tease stuff out all the time, so you keep me going, which is great. But you guys have had to balance this long term, the investment people are making, and obviously making sure that they don't just get frustrated over time. But what can we expect over the next, let's say, 3 months from Guild of Guardians?
Yeah, I think in the next 3 months we'll see Wave 3. So we'll see the pets and rare heroes being available for purchase to people who are early adopters and in the community. We'll see probably a few partnership announcements that are indicative of our ability to grow and scale into not only crypto native communities, but mainstream communities as well, mainstream gaming communities. And I think that we're going to see just a continued trajectory and a continued growth progression of what progress we're making on the back end. So, obviously we're excited to share a lot more in the way of gameplay progress, get more specific in terms of dates that we start play testing and doing sort of soft betas. And aside from that, it's basically just building the community. It's as we've said, we're not going to rush anything. We've been building this for a year. We're in no rush to put something out that isn't a quality product that we're super proud of. So for the time being, and I guess the priority for the quarter is growing the community, letting them know of the progress that we're making, and keeping them really looped in and being transparent. And then the exciting part is probably on the partnership front. The next few months, you'll likely see a few names come out that whet the appetite of a lot of people. So they're the short-term goals. And then next year, obviously, we're looking at getting a product out and having this asset, this idea and this project that we've brought from nothing to ideally put in front of millions and millions of people, and break it, build it, and pop this thing out that changes and alters the industry forever.
If you were to give me a range, when do you think I'll be able to play this game?
Oh, it's always, I get in trouble from Derek all the time because I always say, we really want something out by this time or this date. And he says, you can't, we just don't know, right? Like things slip. But I mean, we're already playtesting it internally. And
have you played, Nick? Have you played the game?
I have, yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I'm like, yeah, I thought I couldn't be more bullish on it. And then the first time I picked it up, I was like, oh my God. I'm reluctant to say dates. I think, conservatively, we want to be beta testing it definitely by Q2 next year. So 6 months. But but yeah, I mean, things can move quicker, things can move slower on different fronts. So I think, yeah, Discord, Twitter is the best place to sort of stay across everything on that front. I think even if the actual product isn't in people's hands, you're going to start seeing a lot more access to more specific gameplay, to soundtracks, to different loops. And that just happens as the project evolves. We get a lot more comfortable sharing things and showing stuff to the community. So that's exciting.
Are you gonna have obviously you'll have a beta, I'm sure, but are you gonna have like pre-beta, like testing groups and one of the things, for example, NBA Top Shot has been very vocal about is not releasing a game that isn't fun to play, and that they had a bunch of non NBA Top Shot fans testing their game, and they've been doing that for a while. Are you guys planning on doing something like that as well?
Yeah, we'll play test with. There's loads of different avenues that you can go down in terms of the testing front and putting it in front of different groups and different communities. So we'll test it exhaustively with people who otherwise would hate the game or never play mobile RPGs, as well as people who are rusted on mobile gaming fanatics.
Yeah. How can I bribe you?
We'll chat offline, won't we?
Dude, I don't know about you guys. I really genuinely cannot wait to get my hands on this game and play it. And obviously our conversations motivated me too to go look at my collection again with a different set of eyes and make sure that I build my own investment thesis on I think I might have every legendary hero, like one of each, but if I don't, that would make sense to go do.
Cool.
But man, I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped. I've always been pumped. In fact, one of the reasons I try not to look at too much GOG content is because I get too pumped. I get too much FOMO, and then it's like, well, I wake up the next day and I don't have a game that I can play.
I think I think it's a healthy mix of trying not to get people just like if you look in our community, whenever we leak something, it's just crazy. Like people love the stuff that we have to share. I love sharing it. So that's a nice little loop that we've got going on. But yeah, you're exactly right. It's I want to be able to play it with my friends yesterday. So we're pushing. We'll continue pushing and working really hard to get the best possible product out there. And we're excited for the next 20 years. So yeah, that's it.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, if you don't know, I will definitely link down below the all of the GOG socials. You've got to be part of the Discord. It is definitely one of the Discords out of the 790 that I'm in that when I see announcements, I am all up in there. I'm looking at what Nick is leaking and revealing. And right now, it seems like almost every day you've got a new character that's being revealed. So I love watching that. It's always high quality. I wish every pack opening was the way you guys do it.
I appreciate that. I'll pass that on to the art and dev guys. They'll be very pleased to hear it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll link everything down below, guys. Join the Discord. I'll definitely have a guild. I'll let you guys know when I have more plans around that. I know there's a lot of people ahead of me who already created their guilds, got their Discord. They're strategizing. I don't know on what right now, but they are. But I'll definitely keep you guys up to date with what I'm doing with my personal guild. I feel like I just need to know a little bit more before I go down there. And follow Nick on Twitter as well. I'll link his socials as well, and just keep up to date. And look, these heroes, not financial advice, as you guys all know, are trading on Immutable X in the marketplace. Personally, I found it super easy to get my ETH in. Actually, like the screen is right when you're in the marketplace. It converts your ETH. You can buy your heroes. I did that with kind of the stuff that was dropped in Wave 2. Although I found it a little bit harder to get it out. It took longer to get it out than to put it in.
A quick note on that. I think obviously the Immutable X marketplace has sort of blown up attention-wise in the last couple of weeks. And I know, we don't sort of have direct oversight over what their team's doing day to day, but as a scaling solution, as a team, they work super, super hard. And I think that I'm obviously bullish, but I think Immutable X is going to be a an absolute industry stalwart when it comes to marketplaces and trading. So I guess the sooner you get in and start using that platform, the better, because it's going to be around for a long, long time, I think.
Nice. All right, guys. Nick, thanks again, man. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad we could do this. We definitely need to do this as we get closer to launching the game and we can share more details with everybody. I'm pumped. That's all I can say. Wrap this up by saying I'm pumped. I can't wait to hear more, and good times to come for sure.
100%.
So, Nick,
No, appreciate it. Appreciate you having me. And obviously, we'll stay in touch and we'll have another couple of these as we get closer to something a little bit more concrete. But exciting times, and appreciate you having me on.
absolutely. All right, guys, we are checking out. Thanks again. Thanks for coming, everybody. Love you all. Checking out. Peace.
See you guys.